In 1952, a woman fell into a vat of grapes on live television. She did not stop. She did not call cut. She wrestled the Italian woman next to her, got purple from head to toe, and kept going until the audience was screaming. That moment was not in the script, and the same woman would later make millions from a decision that looked like a terrible deal at the time. That woman was Lucille Ball, and what looked like an accident on screen was the product of a very deliberate system she had spent 2 years fighting to build. Here is what most people do not know. Before I Love Lucy existed, television was a mess. Shows were broadcast live from New York, shot on a single camera, and preserved on something called a kinescope, which was essentially a camera pointed at a monitor. The quality was poor. You could not rerun them. If you missed the broadcast, the moment was gone forever. Performers had no leverage, no ownership, and no income after the episode aired. The network controlled everything, and comedy, which lives and dies on timing, was being flattened into a format that gave it no room to breathe. Ball had spent years doing it differently. She came up through vaudeville, theater, and radio. She understood what it meant to perform in front of a room that could tell you in real time whether the material worked. She was not going to hand that control over to a network that did not understand what she was building. When CBS came to her in 1950 and offered her a television show, she had 2 demands that the network thought were insane. First, she wanted her husband, Cuban bandleader Desi Arnaz, cast as her co-star. CBS said no. Audiences would not accept a Cuban man married to an American woman on screen. Ball said then there is no show. CBS blinked. Second demand, she wanted the show filmed on 35mm film, not kinescope. CBS said that would cost too much. Ball and Arnaz offered to take a pay cut in exchange for something CBS considered almost worthless: ownership of the filmed negatives. CBS agreed, not realizing they had just given Ball and Arnaz ownership of the most valuable asset in television. Ball and Arnaz understood something CBS did not. Film preserved on a negative does not degrade. It can be broadcast again and again. Every time it airs, the owners get paid. CBS was thinking about production costs. Ball was thinking about ownership. Kinescope recordings deteriorated. Filmed negatives compounded. Within a few years, reruns of I Love Lucy were generating income CBS could not touch. Ball and Arnaz became the first television millionaires. The pay cut they had accepted was now worth far more than the salary they had given up. The concept of syndication as a business model was born in that single negotiation. If you want to see more stories about the people who quietly rewrote the rules of entertainment, subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss the next one. But the deal alone did not make the show what it became. To make reruns worth anything, you needed something worth watching, and that required one more fight. Ball wanted a live studio audience in the room. Every other film television show at the time was shot without one. It was cleaner, quieter, easier to control. Ball did not care. She knew what a room full of people did to a performance. It sharpened the timing. It raised the stakes. It forced the cast to earn every laugh, instead of just hitting the mark and moving on to the next setup. The technical problem was real. Nobody had ever shot a scripted comedy on 35mm film, with 3 cameras simultaneously in front of a live audience. Cinematographer Carl Freund, who had spent decades in Hollywood and knew the craft as well as anyone alive, said it was impossible. You could not light a stage that way without destroying the image. Ball and Arnaz told him to find a way. Freund invented an overhead lighting system that flooded the entire set from above, eliminating shadows at every angle at once. It became the industry standard for multi-camera production and is still in use today. Every improvement made the show more valuable. And unlike almost every television star of the era, Ball and Arnaz owned the thing that was becoming more valuable. 3 cameras rolling, 300 people in the seats, cast performing in real time. That is where the accidents happened. The accidents nobody stopped. In the Chocolate Factory episode in 1952, real chocolates melted under hot studio lights. The conveyor belt moved faster than anything the cast had rehearsed. Ball and Vivian Vance started stuffing chocolates into their mouths, their hats, their uniforms. Because there was no other option and the audience was already losing their minds, nobody called cut. What you see in the finished episode is two performers solving a production failure in front of 300 people. And the room deciding it was funnier than anything in the script. In the Vitamita Vegamin episode, Ball drank sweet apple pectin over and over in each take, playing a character who was unknowingly getting drunk from a health tonic. By the fifth take, she was genuinely sick from the sweetness. Her disgust when she first raised the spoon to her lips was not acting. The audience had watched her deteriorate through every rehearsal pass, and they were completing the joke before she reached the punchline. In the grape-stomping scene filmed in Italy during season 5, she slipped and fell into the vat. The Italian actress she was wrestling had not been briefed on the fall. She fought back. Ball kept going. The audience sound in that clip is not added in post. That is the room in real time. None of those moments were in the script. All of them were kept because 300 people in the room told Ball immediately, and without ambiguity, that it was funnier than what was. Written, none of this made them rich yet. The fortune came from something CBS had already agreed to years earlier. I Love Lucy premiered October 1, 1951. Within 6 months, it was the most watched show in America. It reached a Nielsen rating of 71. 7. First comedy ever to hit #1 in the ratings. It stayed there for 4 of its 6 seasons. The Pregnancy Ball wrote into season 2. Over the fierce objections of CBS, and sponsor Philip Morris drew 30,000 congratulatory telegrams when the birth episode aired. The word pregnant was not allowed on television. The episode aired anyway. When the show ended in 1957, the Desi library was worth a fortune. Ball and Arnaz had been filming on 35mm since day one, with their names on the negatives. The pay cut they accepted in 1950 had turned into one of the most profitable deals in television history. They later sold that library back to CBS, the network that had told them film was too expensive, paid millions to reacquire what they had given away for a pay cut. Every rerun that aired after that sale was money flowing in the wrong direction as far as CBS was concerned. The 3-camera format, the overhead lighting, the live audience, the ownership model, all of it outlasted the show by decades. Every sitcom filmed in front of a studio audience since 1951 runs on infrastructure Ball demanded when the industry said it was impossible. CBS thought they were saving money. Lucille Ball thought she was protecting the show. The decision made her millions and changed television forever.